I felt like something was off the moment I walked into Sunny Meadows preschool. Specifically, it was the way my daughter Mia's teacher, Sarah Jenkins, kept looking at me. It was this weird, hesitant glance like she wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. I automatically looked down. Gray t-shirt, jeans. Zipper was up. No mystery stains on my shirt. I was good. Mr. Cole, can I have a word? Sarah's voice was soft, gentle. I stopped, peeling Mia off my back as she tried to climb me like a tree. Sure, Ms. Jenkins. What's up? She handed me a piece of construction paper. This is Mia's artwork for the day. I took it. 3 stick figures. A big one holding hands with a little one, and another little one in a triangle dress standing right next to them. Scrawled in crayon at the top were the words, "My daddy and my teacher Sarah." My eyes started to twitch. She's been very into this particular theme lately, Sarah added, the tips of her ears turning a little red. I clear my throat. Kids draw the darndest things. Don't mind her. It's not my fault, Daddy, Mia announced, her voice echoing in the suddenly quiet pickup area. She hugged my leg and looked up beaming. I promised I'd find you a new wife. And I like Ms. Jenkins. She's pretty and she's nice, and she tells the best stories. A dozen pairs of parental eyes swiveled in our direction. I could feel my face getting hot. I scooped Mia in my arms, gave Sarah a panicked nod, and muttered, "You know how kids are. See ya," before making a run for it. I buckled her into her car seat and got behind the wheel. Mia Elizabeth Cole. I used her full name. "Yes, sir," she chirped from the back. "No more playing matchmaker at school, understand?" "But why?" she asked, head tilted. "Mrs. Gable next door said you get tired taking care of me all by yourself, and you need a wife to help. And I like Ms. Jenkins. She smells like flowers and gives soft hugs." I tightened my grip on the steering wheel. My neighbor, Mrs. Gable, and her well-meaning advice were going to be the death of me. "Does that mean you don't like Ms. Jenkins, Daddy?" "Mia prest." "It's not about liking her, sweetie," I said, trying to reason with a 4-year-old. "She's your teacher, and I'm your dad. We're—" "But Tyler's mom married his soccer coach." Mia shot back, her logic infuriatingly sound. "And Chloe's dad is dating her piano teacher." I was speechless. When did kids start knowing so much? Back home, I got Mia settled with a bowl of apple slices and her favorite cartoon when my phone buzzed. It was Kevin, my disaster of a cousin. "Dude, did your little princess really just put out a personal ad for you at her preschool?" My temples started to throb. "How do you know that already?" "I have my sources. The well-being of my favorite niece is my top priority. So what's the deal with this Sarah? Here she's a knockout." "Get lost," I grumbled. "No, seriously, man. It's been a long time. Mia needs a mom. The kid obviously adores her. Why not just ask her out?" I hung up on him. I watched Mia on the living room rug, munching on her apple, her little pigtails bouncing as she giggled at the screen. My heart did that familiar ache-and-swell thing. Ever since my ex-wife decided her career in Europe was more important than her 1-year-old daughter, it had been just me and Mia. It wasn't that I hadn't thought about giving Mia a complete family. It was just something was always missing. The next morning, I felt a little awkward dropping Mia off. Sarah, however, was a total pro, greeting every kid with a warm smile. When it was Mia's turn, she crouched down to fix her collar. "Good morning, Mia." "Good morning, Ms. Jenkins," Mia replied brightly, then leaned in close and whispered in a voice she thought was quiet, "My daddy says he likes you." I nearly tripped over my own feet. Sarah's face went crimson. "Mia kid." I felt like my last shred of dignity had just evaporated on the preschool welcome mat. I looked at Sarah, ready to apologize profusely, but I saw her head was bowed, her lips pressed together, clearly trying not to laugh. "You'd better go inside," she said, her voice laced with amusement as she gave Mia a gentle nudge. Mia skipped off into the classroom. I just stood there, not knowing whether to stay or run. "Mr. Cole," Sarah said, looking up, the smile finally breaking through. "I won't take it seriously. You know how kids are." I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding, and then felt a weird pang of disappointment. Although, she paused, a hint of mischief in her eyes. "Mia has been talking my ear off about you during free play." My heart jumped back into my throat. "She told me you always burn the pancakes, you can't carry a tune to save your life, and you're afraid of the dark." "Mia kid." I mentally scolded my daughter again. "She loves you very much, Sarah concluded, her expression softening. In her world, you're the best dad on the planet. The warmth of her words washed away my embarrassment. Thanks. I turned to leave, then hesitated and looked back. Ms. Jenkins. Yes. For the record, I don't always burn the pancakes. I had to salvage some of my reputation. Sarah blinked, then broke into a genuine, beautiful laugh. Okay, good to know. Her smile was like the first sunny day of spring. Walking away from the school, I had a feeling it was going to be a pretty good day. That afternoon, I got called into an emergency meeting at work, which meant I'd be late picking up Mia. In a panic, I found the school's contact card and shot a quick text to Sarah. Ms. Jenkins, sorry to bother you. Something came up at work, and I'll be about half an hour late picking Mia up. Can you please have her wait in the classroom for me? She replied almost instantly. No problem. Don't rush, drive safe. The meeting ran long. By the time I sped to the preschool, I was a full hour late. The building was quiet. Through the classroom window, I saw only Sarah and Mia. Mia was coloring at a small table, and Sarah was sitting beside her, quietly telling her story. The late afternoon sun streamed through the window, casting a golden glow over them. Daddy! Mia spotted me and ran over, cheering. I'm so sorry, Ms. Jenkins. I really didn't mean to keep you this late, I said, full of apology. It's fine, Sarah said, gathering her things. Mia was an angel. Mia tugged on my jeans. Daddy, Ms. Jenkins gave me goldfish crackers and told me a super good story. Thank you, Sarah, I said, dropping the formal Ms. Jenkins. You're welcome, she replied, slinging her bag over her shoulder. Well, see you tomorrow. Bye, Ms. Jenkins. As Sarah walked away, Mia shook my hand. Daddy, can we take Ms. Jenkins to dinner? To say thank you for waiting with me. I hesitated. You always say we have to thank people when they help us, Mia said, using my own words against me. I had to laugh. The kid was a master manipulator. I pulled out my phone and texted Sarah. To show my appreciation, I'd like to treat you to a simple dinner tomorrow night. Would you be free? I felt surprisingly nervous after hitting send. A moment later, a reply came. Okay, but please, nothing fancy. I let out a breath and found myself smiling. Did she say yes, Daddy? Mia asked, her eyes wide. She did. Yay. Awesome. Mia cheered. Seeing her so happy, all my reservations melted away. It was just a thank you dinner for her teacher. That's all. I picked a nice family-style Italian place, cozy enough to not feel like a pressure-filled date, but not so casual it felt thoughtless. Sarah was already there when Mia and I arrived. She was wearing a simple light blue sundress, her hair pinned up loosely. She looked different outside the classroom, softer. Sarah. Mia broke free from my hand and launched herself at her teacher like a tiny torpedo. Sarah bent down to catch her, a warm smile on her face. Mia. You look so pretty, Mia said, sweet as honey. Have you been waiting long? Not at all, I just got here, she said, standing up. We sat down, and I passed the menu to Sarah. See anything you like? I'm easy. I'm not a picky eater, she said, pushing it back toward me. Why don't you order for us? Daddy, order. Daddy, order. Mia chanted, gripping the edge of the table. I want spaghetti and meatballs and ice cream. Ice cream is for after dinner, I said, placing our order with the waiter. The conversation stalled for a moment. So, how long have you been a preschool teacher? I asked, trying to break the silence. 3 years. I started at Sunny Meadows right out of college. You must really love kids. Eat dough. It's simple with them. Happy, she said, gently stroking Mia's hair. Mia immediately piped up. And I love being with Ms. Jenkins the most. I had to look away. My daughter's sycophantic routine was a little much. The food arrived, and I fell into the familiar rhythm of cutting up Mia's spaghetti. Sarah ate quietly, occasionally glancing up at us. Does Mia's mom not see her very often? Sarah asked, then immediately looked regretful. I'm sorry, that was too personal, It's okay, I said calmly, putting a piece of meatball in Mia's bowl. She decided she wanted a different life. Moved to Europe. We don't hear from her much. Sarah nodded, not pressing further. Daddy, I need shrimp, Mia commanded from her high chair, pointing at my plate. I sighed, put on the plastic gloves the restaurant provided for the scampi, and started peeling. I was meticulous, deveining it perfectly before placing the clean shrimp in her bowl. "You're a very attentive father," Sarah commented. "You get used to it," I said with a small smile. Halfway through dinner, Mia announced she had to use the potty. Just as I was about to get up, Sarah said, "I can take her." She led Mia away by the hand. I watched them go, a strange feeling blooming in my chest. A few minutes later, they returned. Mia scurried over to me, whispering conspiratorially. "Daddy, I asked Miss Jenkins." A rock dropped in my stomach. "You asked her what?" "I asked if she likes you." I felt the blood rush to my face. "Mia, what did I?" And she said. Mia drew out the suspense. I held my breath. She said, "You're a great dad." Mia finished, then giggled. I let out a breath, caught between relief and exasperation. I was being played by a 4-year-old. I glanced at Sarah. She was intensely focused on her water glass, but the tips of her ears were bright red. The rest of the dinner was pleasant. When the check came, I made sure to grab it first. Sarah looked a little embarrassed. I thought we agreed. "A gentleman never lets a lady pay," I said, scooping up a sleepy Mia. "Come on, I'll give you a ride home." "Oh no, you don't have to. The light rail is super convenient. It's late." I insist. She didn't argue further. I pulled up in front of her apartment building, a simple, clean-looking complex. "Thank you for dinner," she said before getting out. "Thank you for watching, Mia." "Bye, Sarah," Mia mumbled, rubbing her eyes. "Bye, Mia. See you tomorrow." I waited until she was safely inside before I drove off. "Daddy," Mia said sleepily from the back seat. "Ms. Jenkins is really nice." "Yeah, she is. Can we have dinner with her again sometime?" "We'll see." "You got to step up your game, Daddy," she mumbled, then fell fast asleep. I looked at my daughter in the rearview mirror and shook my head, smiling. Step up my game? What game? An image of Sarah, her ears red as she tried to hide a smile, flashed in my mind. Maybe. It wasn't a totally impossible idea. The thought surprised me, catching me completely off guard. The next day was Saturday. I took Mia to the local amusement park, and of all the people to run into, we saw Sarah with another guy. He looked about her age, handsome in a trendy, style kind of way. They were laughing and talking, clearly comfortable with each other. Mia's eagle eyes spotted her from 100 feet away. "Ms. Jenkins." Sarah saw us and looked surprised for a second before smiling and walking over. "Mia, what a coincidence. You came to play too," Mia said happily before her eyes landed on the guy. Her face fell. "Who's that?" The man grinned, showing a perfect set of white teeth. "Hey there, I'm Chris, a friend of Sarah's." Mia immediately clutched my leg, glaring at Chris with pure hostility. I felt a little awkward. "Mia, be polite. This is my old college friend, Chris," Sarah explained. "He's in town for a conference and asked to meet up." Chris looked me over. "And you are?" "This is Mia's father, Ethan Cole," Sarah introduced us. "Nice to meet you, Ethan," Chris said, shaking my hand. "You too," I replied. The handshake was firm. The vibe was weird. "Ms. Jenkins, let's go on the rides together," Mia begged, pulling on Sarah's hand. Sarah glanced at Chris. "Maybe we should." "Yeah, let's. The more the merrier," Chris said, looking way too cheerful. So, the four of us became a group. For the rest of the day, Mia was glued to Sarah's side. Anytime Chris tried to talk to Sarah, Mia would interrupt or drag her teacher toward the Ferris wheel or the carousel. I trailed behind them, watching my daughter's blatant sabotage with a complex mix of feelings. I knew it was wrong, but a tiny part of me was enjoying it. Chris eventually seemed to notice the pattern. He fell back to walk next to me. "Your daughter, she doesn't miss a trick, does she?" I cleared my throat. "She's just really fond of her teacher. I'll say," he muttered, his eyes on the two of them walking hand in hand ahead of us. At the end of the afternoon, Mia refused to let go of Sarah. "Come to my house for dinner. Daddy's a great cook." I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Sarah gently patted Mia's head. "I have plans tonight, sweetie. Maybe next time." "Okay," Mia said, reluctantly letting go. Chris turned to Sarah. "I can give you a ride. I'll drive her," I heard myself say. Three heads turned to look at me. "It's on my way," I added, trying to sound casual. Sarah looked at me, then nodded. "Okay. Thank you, Ethan." Chris just smiled. "All right then. Sarah, keep in touch." "Ethan, good seeing you." On the ride home, Mia was so tired she passed out in the back seat. Sarah sat in the passenger seat, quietly watching the scenery fly by. Sorry about today, I said. Mia was a bit much. It's okay. She's adorable, Sarah said, turning back from the window. And Chris is just a friend. My hands tightened on the wheel. You don't have to explain anything to me. She pressed her lips together and didn't say anything else. I dropped her off at her building. Ethan, yeah. Next Friday is the parent-child field day at the preschool. It's for the dads. Will you be able to make it? I'll clear my schedule. I'll be there. Great. Well, see you Monday. See you Monday. As I watched her walk away, I leaned back in my seat and let out a long breath. I pulled out my phone and opened my text with her. The thread was just a few messages about pickups and school notices. I wanted to type something, anything, but I had no idea what to say. In the end, I just locked the screen and started the car. Mia talked about the field day all week. You have to win, Daddy, she said that morning over a toast. Win what? I laughed. They're just little games. You get a ribbon if you win. I want to give the ribbon to Ms. Jenkins. I shook my head. My daughter's devotion to her teacher was unstoppable. The preschool's playground was already buzzing with activity. Sarah and the other teachers were busy setting things up. She was wearing the school's athletic shirt and had her hair in a ponytail. She looked bright and energetic. Ms. Jenkins, Mia yelled, waving as she ran over. Sarah bent down to chat with her for a moment, then glanced my way and gave me a smiling nod. I nodded back. The first event was the three-legged race. I knelt down and tied my ankle to Mia's. We practiced a few steps, our coordination surprisingly decent. Faster, Daddy, Mia urged, eyeing the competition. Easy there, champ. Slow and steady wins the race. The whistle blew. We set off, Mia chanting left, right, left under her breath, her face scrunched in concentration. I matched her small steps, moving forward at a steady pace. Near the finish line, a kid next to us stumbled. I instinctively reached out to steady him, which threw Mia and me off balance. We staggered for a few steps before regaining our footing. We came in third. Mia pouted as the first-place team went up to get their blue ribbon. Hey, it's okay. We'll get him next time, I said, ruffling her hair. But I wanted to give the ribbon to Ms. Jenkins, she said, her eyes getting watery. Sarah walked over and crouched in front of her. Mia, you and your daddy were amazing. You were so kind to help the other team. In my book, that's better than first place. Really? Mia asked, her big eyes blinking. Absolutely, Sarah said, pulling a star-shaped sticker from her pocket. This is the Good Sports Star, just for you. Mia's tears vanished, replaced by a huge smile. She carefully stuck the star on her shirt. She looked from me to Sarah, then had a brilliant idea. Ms. Jenkins, why don't you and my daddy do the race together? Sarah and I both froze. Oh, honey, teachers can't play this game with parents, Sarah said quickly. Why not? Because it's a parent-child game, I said, scooping her up. Come on, let's go find the next event. I didn't dare look at Sarah as I hurried away. For the rest of the day, we did pretty well, and in the beanbag toss, we actually won a little best teamwork certificate. Mia was ecstatic. She immediately ran to find Sarah. Look, Ms. Jenkins, my daddy and I won. Sarah was helping another kid wipe his face. She took the certificate and smiled. Wow, this is amazing. You should keep this somewhere safe. It's for you, Mia announced loudly. A few parents and teachers glanced over. Sarah's face flushed. Oh no, sweetie. You and your dad are in this. You should keep it. No, I want you to have it. Mia insisted. I walked over to intervene. Mia, Ms. Jenkins is the one who gave us the certificate. We can't get it back to her. How about we hang it on the wall at home? Mia considered this, looking between me and her teacher. Okay, I guess. After the event, as I was helping Mia change, I overheard two teachers talking. That Mia Cole really adores Sarah, trying to give her the prize and everything. Kids are like that. I hear her dad is pretty great too. Handsome, good with his daughter. Owns his own company, right? He's a catch. Sarah's voice dropped. Don't be ridiculous. I grabbed Mia's bag and got us out of there as fast as I could. That night, Kevin came over to bum a free meal. Heard you were the star athlete at preschool today, he said, gnawing on a chicken wing. Mia jumped in. Daddy and I won a certificate, and Daddy was going to do the three-legged race with Ms. Jenkins. I choked on my soup. Kevin's eyes lit up. Oh, really? Things are moving that fast, huh? Mia, no talking with your mouth full, I said, trying to look stern. She stuck her tongue out and went back to her mac and cheese. Seriously, man, Kevin whispered. What's the verdict on the teacher? What verdict? She's Mia's teacher. So? It's preschool, not high school. She won't even have her next year, he said. Mia likes her. You're obviously into her. What's the holdup? I'm not into her. Oh yeah? Then why'd you get all weird about that Chris guy at the park? Mia told me everything. Some handsome dude tried to move in on your territory, and you stepped up to claim what's yours. I buried my face in my hands. My daughter's ability to embellish was truly world-class. It wasn't like that. It was on my way. Right. Your office and her apartment are in completely opposite directions. On the way to where, Alaska? Cornered. I felt my face flush. Just eat your chicken. He shrugged and, for once, shut up. Later, during story time, Mia asked, Daddy, are you going to marry Ms. Jenkins? The book nearly slipped from my hands. Who's been putting these ideas in your head? I thought of it myself, she said, her eyes sparkling. Mrs. Gable says getting married means two people stay together forever. I want to stay with Ms. Jenkins forever. I stroked her hair. Sweetie, some things don't work just because you want them to. Why not? Because Ms. Jenkins might not want to. Yes, she will, Mia said with total certainty. When she looked at you today, her eyes were smiling. My heart skipped a beat. Really? Uh-huh. She nodded emphatically. You can do it, Daddy. After she was asleep, I went back to the living room and picked up my phone. I stared at Sarah's contact photo, a little cartoon sheep. I opened her profile and saw she'd posted on her social media page. It was a 9-photo grid from the field day. One of the pictures was a candid shot of me and Mia, our backs to the camera, running the 3-legged race. The caption read, "A busy but wonderful day. The kids' smiles are the best reward." I stared at that picture for a long time. Then I did something impulsive. I opened our text thread and typed, "Hi Sarah, are you free tomorrow? I'd like to buy you a coffee and chat about Mia's progress." The second I hit send, I regretted it. The excuse was so lame. Mia was doing great in school. What is there to talk about? Just as I was about to unsend the message, my phone vibrated. A reply from Sarah. Sure, I'm free after 4 tomorrow afternoon. I stared at the words, my heart starting to beat a little faster. I got to the coffee shop 10 minutes early. I chose a table by the window and tapped my fingers on the tabletop, trying to look casual. At 4:05, Sarah walked in. She was in jeans and a simple white shirt, looking fresh and clean. Sorry, have you been waiting long? She asked as she approached. Nope, just got here, I lied, standing to pull out her chair. After we ordered, an awkward silence settled between us. So, how has Mia been doing in class lately? I asked, forcing myself to stick to my terrible excuse. Sarah smiled. She's doing great. She's bright and energetic, though her attention can wander a bit. She gets that from me, I blurted, then immediately wanted to kick myself. Sarah chuckled softly. Were you a daydreamer as a kid, too? Probably. My mom says I spent most of 3rd grade staring out the window. Well, it's nothing to worry about, she said, stirring her latte. It's normal for her age. We just have to guide her. The conversation died again. I took a deep breath and decided to just go for it. Look, I didn't just ask you here to talk about Mia. She looked up, her expression calm, as if she'd been expecting this. I wanted to apologize, I began, choosing my words carefully. If anything Mia has said made you uncomfortable. Not at all. She shook her head. Kids are innocent. It's sweet. Well, what if I told you that my wanting to see you wasn't entirely because of Mia? Her hand tightened around her mug, but she didn't speak. My own nerve was starting to fail me. What I mean is, I think you're a really great person. You're kind, patient, and you're very beautiful. And if it's okay, I'd like to get to know you better. As a person, not just as Mia's teacher. The words hung in the air. I could feel my palms starting to sweat. It had been years since I'd felt this nervous. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Ethan, she said softly, do you know anything about me? I'd like to. I'm probably not as simple as I look, she said, her gaze complicated. My family situation is a little difficult. Everyone's got something, I said. She gave a sad little smile. My dad passed away a long time ago. My mom isn't well. She's on a lot of medication. And I have a younger brother in college. The financial side of things, it mostly falls on me. I was taken aback by her honesty. So, I probably don't have a lot of time or energy for a casual, easy relationship, she continued. My life is work and taking care of my family. A lot of guys hear that and run for the hills. She looked at me, waiting for my reaction. I thought for a moment. Thank you for telling me that. And you know my situation, divorced, single dad, busy with my company. Sounds like we're two peas in a pod. She blinked, then a Rayol laugh escaped her. That's a strange way to put it. I'm serious, I said, meeting her eyes. Life is hard. That's all the more reason to find someone to go through it with, isn't it? She looked down at her hands. After a long pause, she whispered, I need some time to think. Of course, I said, relief washing over me. It wasn't a no. After coffee, I walked her home. This time we walked side by side through a neighborhood, the atmosphere much lighter than before. Does Mia know you asked me out today? Sarah asked. God, no. If she knew, she'd be so excited she'd never get to sleep. Sarah laughed. She really wants you to be happy. She also really wants you to be her mom, I said, then realized how that sounded. I know what you mean, she said, nodding. We stopped at the entrance to her building. Well, this is me. Okay. She started to go, then turned back. Ethan. Yeah. Next time you want to ask me out, you could just ask. You don't need to use me as an excuse. My face felt hot. Right. Okay. I watched her disappear inside, then let out a happy, involuntary whistle. When I got home, Kevin was somehow still there, watching cartoons with Mia. So, how'd it go? He asked, pouncing on me the second I walked in. How'd what go? The date. Don't play dumb. Mia told me you were going to see Sarah to chat about her progress. He winked. I looked at my daughter, who immediately covered her face with a pillow. I didn't say anything. I shook my head. We just had coffee. And then I walked her home. And then, Kevin pressed. There's no, and then, I said, pushing him toward the door. You need to go home. Come on, man. I'm rooting for you, he yelled as I shut the door on him. I looked at Mia, who was peeking over the pillow and giggling. I walked over and tweaked her cheek. My little spy. Daddy, did Sarah agree to be my mommy? She asked hopefully. Not yet, but I thought of what Sarah had said at the end, and a smile spread across my face. Daddy's working on it. Yay. Go, Daddy, go. She cheered, throwing her arms around my neck. The next day at pickup, Sarah and I made eye contact, and both of us looked away a little shy. After the other kids had left, Mia was still happily playing with blocks. So, I started. Yes, she said, looking up. Remembering her words, I just went for it. Are you free this weekend? I was thinking we could see a movie. A small smile played on her lips. I have to take my mom to the doctor this weekend for a checkup. Oh, is it serious? Just her usual high blood pressure, she said. But I should be free in the afternoon. A matinee, then? Okay. Mia ran over. Daddy, Sarah, what are you talking about? We're talking about taking you to see a movie this weekend, I said, stroking her hair. Really? Awesome, she yelled. Sarah looked at me, her eyes smiling. I smiled back. This feeling, it was nice. The movie became a three-person affair. Mia sat between us, grabbing my hand on one side and Sarah's on the other during the exciting parts. Afterward, she walked out of the theater holding both our hands, skipping. I'm the happiest kid in the whole world, she announced to everyone. Passers-by smiled at us. Sarah and I glanced at each other, a little embarrassed, but neither of us let go. Mia fell asleep on the drive home. Thank you for today, I said. No, thank you. I had a really nice time, she replied, her profile soft in the fading light. My mom. I told her about you, I said suddenly. Sarah stiffened slightly. What did she say? She said to bring you over for dinner sometime. She turned to look at me, surprised. I kept my eyes on the road, smiling. I told her about your situation. She said you sound like a good, strong woman. Sarah's eyes welled up a little. She looked down. That's very kind of her. She means it, I said as I pulled up to her building. My parents are pretty laid back. All they want is for me to be happy. She was quiet for a moment. Can I think about it? She asked softly. Of course. I'll wait. She got out of the car, then turned back, her eyes shining in the dark. Ethan. It was the first time she'd said my name like that. Yeah. Thank you. Then she turned and hurried inside. I sat in the car, replaying the sound of my name in her voice, and couldn't stop smiling. Things seemed to be going better than I could have ever hoped. I felt like Sarah and I were separated by nothing more than a thin sheet of glass. but she always seemed to have reservations, a hesitation to break through it. Until the day I got a frantic call from the preschool. Mr. Cole, Mia, and another child were fighting over a toy, and she fell and hit her head on a cabinet. She's bleeding from her forehead. We've administered first aid, but could you come right away? My blood ran cold. I grabbed my keys and sprinted out the door. I'm on my way. When I burst into the nurse's office, Mia was sitting on a small cot, a bandage on her forehead, her eyes red and swollen from crying. Sarah was kneeling in front of her, speaking in a low, soothing voice. Daddy. Mia started crying again when she saw me. I rushed over and swept her into my arms. What happened? Does it hurt? Let me see. Mr. Cole. The nurse checked her out. It's just a surface wound. No concussion, Sarah said, her own face pale. I'm so sorry. I wasn't watching him closely enough. What happened? I asked, my voice tight with worry. Before she could answer, another parent stormed in with her son. Are you Mia's dad? Look what your daughter did to my son's face. The little boy had several angry red scratches on his cheek. He tried to take my doll. Mia sobbed. It was the one Ms. Jenkins gave me. I looked at Sarah. She addressed the other mother. Mrs. Davis, I saw what happened. Your son, Leo, tried to grab the doll from Mia first. When she wouldn't let go, they started to struggle, and she fell. Both children were at fault. What do you mean, both? My son's face is all scratched up. I want to speak to the director. You can, but I'll be right there with you, I said, my voice dangerously calm. My daughter has a cut on her forehead that will probably need stitches. If it leaves a scar, who's going to be responsible for that? The woman was taken aback by my tone and fell silent. Kids scuffle, it happens, I continued. But as parents, our job is to teach them not to grab things that don't belong to them. If you still feel the need to see the director, I will happily accompany you. Mrs. Davis huffed. Whatever. Just keep your kid under control next time. She grabbed her son and left. I held Mia close and looked at Sarah. Are you okay? You look pale. She shook her head. I'm fine. Let's get Mia to a doctor to have it looked at again. The school has a car ready. On the way to the urgent care clinic, Sarah held Mia, murmuring comforting words. I watched them in the rearview mirror, and my heart melted. The doctor confirmed it was just a surface cut that needed to be properly cleaned and bandaged. But they wanted to keep her for observation for a little while, just in case. While we waited, Mia fell asleep in Sarah's arms. Thank you for today, I said to Sarah. I should be the one thanking you, she said, looking down. If I hadn't given her that doll, this wouldn't have. It's not your fault. I cut her off. Kids fight. It happens. You handled it perfectly. She looked up, her eyes a little red. I was so scared when I saw the blood. It's over now, I said, resting a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry. She flinched slightly at my touch. After a couple of hours, the doctor gave us the all clear, and we left. It was already dark. I'll drive you home, I said. No, it's okay. You two go on ahead. I can get a ride. Absolutely not. It's too late. I dropped her off at her building. As she was getting out, she paused at the car window. Ethan, yeah. Thank you for today, she whispered. And I'm sorry. I looked at her, then unbuckled my seatbelt and got out of the car. I walked around her side. Sarah. The streetlights cast a soft glow on her face. Let's give this a try, I said. She stared at me, stunned. I like you. A lot. And Mia adores you. I know you have a lot on your plate, a lot of reservations. But none of that matters to me, I said, my gaze steady. Give me a chance. Give us a chance. Please. Her lips parted, but no words came out. You don't have to answer right now, I said quickly. You can keep thinking, but until you decide, I want to officially properly date you. A slow blush spread across her face. She looked down, and after a long moment, she gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. Okay. It was just one word, but my heart soared. So, I'll see you tomorrow, I asked, trying to keep the massive grin off my face. See you tomorrow, she whispered, then turned and practically ran into her building. Back in the car, I looked at my sleeping daughter in the back seat. Hey, kiddo, I whispered. I think your dad's about to fall in love. The next morning, I brought a small bouquet of baby's breath with me to drop off. For you, I said, handing them to Sarah, feeling like an awkward teenager. A congratulations for your excellent handling of a crisis situation yesterday. The excuse was so bad it was almost funny. The other teachers nearby giggled. Sarah blushed as she took the flowers. Thank you. Mia looked from the flowers to me, to her teacher. Daddy, Sarah, are you dating? The world went silent. I wanted to clam my hand over my daughter's mouth. Sarah's face was now the color of a tomato, but she didn't deny it. She just stroked Mia's hair. Go put your backpack away, sweetie. Mia looked between us, a knowing smile spreading across her face, and happily skipped into the classroom. The other teachers found reasons to be busy elsewhere. Kids say the darndest things, I started to explain. It's okay, Sarah said, burying her nose in the flowers, a smile tugging at her lips. They smell wonderful. From that day on, I officially began courting Sarah Jenkins. Every day at pickup, I'd linger for a few minutes to chat. I'd bring her small, thoughtful gifts, her favorite coffee, a new book for the classroom. On weekends, I'd ask her out, sometimes with Mia, sometimes just the two of us. I learned that her mother needed to go to a physical therapist every week, and I offered to drive them. She refused at first, but I was persistent. Her mom was a quiet, kind woman who looked at me with warm eyes. Ethan, you really don't have to do this, she'd always say. It's no trouble at all. It's on my way, I'd lie. It was completely out of my way. When Kevin heard, he was impressed. Nice, bro. Going straight for the mother-in-law. Smart. Shut up, I said, laughing. Our relationship deepened slowly, naturally, in the quiet rhythm of these shared moments. Until the day I got a call from an unknown number. Is this Ethan Cole? A man's voice asked. It sounded vaguely familiar. It is. Who's this? It's Chris. I paused. Chris? What can I do for you? Can we meet? It's about Sarah. I frowned. If it's about Sarah, I think she can tell me herself. If she was willing to tell you, I wouldn't be calling, he said. There are some things she'll probably never say. I was silent for a moment. When and where? I was going to find out what this was all about. We met at a quiet cafe. Chris was already there. Thanks for coming, he said, gesturing for me to sit. What do you want to talk about? I asked, getting straight to the point. He poured me a cup of tea. I know you're seeing Sarah. And I thought you should know a few things, he said, his gaze serious. Did she ever tell you how her father died? I frowned. She said it was a long time ago. It was a car accident, Chris said. She was a senior in high school. Her dad was driving her to school. To avoid a jaywalker who ran a red light, he swerved and hit a guardrail. He was killed instantly. Sarah walked away with minor injuries. I was stunned. I had no idea. Ever since then, she's been terrified of being a burden, of causing trouble for anyone she cares about, Chris continued. She had a scholarship to study abroad in college, a huge opportunity. She turned it down because she couldn't bear to leave her mom and brother. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I'm in love with her, he said, without a trace of hesitation. I've been since college, but she always turned me down, said she had too much baggage, that she didn't want to drag me down. I gripped my cup. I can see she's different with you, he said with a wry, bitter smile. The way she looks at you. She never looked at me like that. But I need you to be sure. If you're with her, you're with all of it. Her family, her financial burdens, and the deep-seated fear and anxiety she carries inside. If you're not ready for that, then please don't give her hope just to let her down. I was silent for a long time. Are you done? I asked. Chris nodded. Thank you for your concern, I said, standing up. But I don't need a third party to validate my feelings for her or my readiness for a relationship. I put some cash on the table. This is on me. I walked out of the cafe, my mind reeling. I understood Chris's intentions, but I hated his methods. I wanted to call Sarah, but I stopped myself. This was something I needed to hear from her. That evening at pickup, I saw the faint dark circles under her eyes. Are you okay? I asked. She shook her head. Fine. Just didn't sleep well. I hesitated, but decided not to push it. On the drive, Mia fell asleep. When we got to her building, Sarah started to unbuckle Mia, but I stopped her. Let me carry her up. She looked at me for a second, then nodded. It was my first time inside her apartment. It was a small two-bedroom, impeccably clean, but clearly old. On the living room table were pill bottles and hospital receipts. Her mom was already asleep. I gently laid Mia on the couch and covered her with a blanket. Do you want some water? Sarah asked, handing me a glass. We sat on opposite ends of the sofa in silence. Chris came to see me today, I said, deciding to just cut to the chase. Her whole body went rigid. What did he want? He told me some things. About your father. The color drained from her face. She looked down, her hands clenched around her water glass. Why didn't you tell me? I asked softly. Tell you what? Her voice trembled. That my dad died driving me to school? That I have to take sleeping pills every night just to shut my brain off? That I still have nightmares about that morning? Tears started to fall into her glass. After hearing all that, do you still want me? She asked. Her eyes filled with tears as she looked up at me. My heart broke. I moved across the couch and pulled her into my arms. You idiot. She trembled against my chest. It wasn't your fault, I whispered. It was an accident. But if I hadn't made him drive me, if I wasn't in a hurry, if... She sobbed. There are no ifs, I said, cutting her off. It happened. All we can do is live with it. Your dad would want you to be happy, not to spend your life blaming yourself. She just cried harder. I held her, gently rubbing her back. Listen to me, Sarah Jenkins. I'm falling in love with you. All of you. Your strength, your vulnerability, your past, and your present. And I want to be part of your future. I want to help you take care of your family. I want to face everything with you. Together. I tilted her face up to mine. Will you let me do that? She looked at me, tears streaming down her face, and slowly she nodded. Yes. I smiled and leaned in, gently kissing the tears from her cheeks. Then it's a date. Just then, a sleepy voice came from the other end of the couch. Daddy, Sarah, are you guys kissing? We jumped apart like teenagers caught by their parents. Mia just smacked her lips and rolled over, fast asleep again. Sarah and I looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh quietly. Guess we'll have to be more careful, I whispered. She blushed and nodded. After that night, it was like a massive weight had been lifted from Sarah's shoulders. We started dating for real. I took her to meet my parents, and my mom absolutely loved her, holding her hand and talking for hours. Thank you for taking such good care of Mia, my mom said. Mia's a wonderful, sweet girl, Sarah replied. Well, you're part of the family now. You have to come for dinner all the time. Leaving my parents' house, Sarah's eyes were red. What's wrong? I asked, concerned. Nothing, she shook her head. It's just been a long time since I felt that. Felt what? Like I was part of a family. I took her hand. You'll have it forever now. Everything was perfect, until the day an unwelcome guest showed up. I got a call from the preschool, saying a woman claiming to be Mia's mother was there and demanding to take her home. I raced over and found a stylishly dressed woman arguing with Sarah. I'm her mother. Why can't I take my own daughter? The woman demanded. Ma'am, you're not on the authorized pickup list. I need to get permission from Mr. Cole, Sarah said firmly, standing protectively in front of Mia. Mia was hiding behind Sarah, clutching her leg. Vivian, I said, my voice cold as ice as I walked up. The woman turned. It was my ex-wife, who I hadn't seen in 3 years. Ethan, long time no see, Vivian said, flipping her hair. I came back to see my daughter. What right do you have to see her? I said, barely controlling my anger. You disappear for 3 years without a word. And now you just show up? What do you want? I'm still her mother, she said. I heard you're getting remarried? To a preschool teacher? Do you really think she could be a good mother to Mia? Sarah's face went pale. That is none of your business, I said. Please leave. Don't disrupt our lives. It is my business. I'm her biological mother. She raised her voice. I'm taking Mia back with me to Europe. I can give her a better life. Like hell you are. I snatched Mia up into my arms. Sarah, let's go. I took Sarah's hand and walked away. Ethan, I'm not giving up. Vivian yelled after us. I'll see you in court. On the drive home, Mia asked in a small voice, Daddy, was that really my mommy? My heart ached. Yes, sweetie. Why didn't she want me? Tears welled in her eyes. Sarah pulled her into a hug. It's not that she didn't want you, sweetie. Sometimes, grown-ups have to make very hard choices. I glanced at her, my eyes full of gratitude. After Mia was in bed, Sarah and I sat in the living room. I'm sorry you got dragged into this, I said. Don't be. She shook her head. I'm just worried about Mia. She's so upset. I sighed. I never thought she'd actually come back. The legal threat she made. She doesn't have a case, I said. She legally abandoned her. I have all the proof I need. Sarah nodded. Good. I looked at her. Are you scared? Of what? That being with me means dealing with this kind of drama. She smiled and took my hand. The only thing I'm scared of is losing you. I pulled her into a hug. Don't worry. I'll handle this. But Vivian's return was like a stone thrown into a calm lake, and the ripples were just beginning to spread. She didn't give up. She started lurking around the preschool, trying to talk to Mia. I had to hire extra security and file for a temporary restraining order. She responded by officially filing for custody. Her claim? That I was a busy single father, unable to provide adequate care, and that my new partner had an unstable profession and a troubled family history that would be detrimental to a child's development. She said you investigated. I told Sarah, my voice thick with guilt. Sarah was calm. It's fine. I have nothing to hide. But it got worse. Vivian had somehow dug up the details of Sarah's father's accident and used it in court to question her mental stability, arguing she was unfit to be a stepmother. Ms. Jenkins, is it true that you suffer from insomnia and require medication to sleep? Vivian's lawyer asked, his voice dripping with condescension. Sarah's face went white. Objection, my lawyer stood. Relevance. The judge sustained it, but the damage was done. During a recess, I cornered Vivian. What the hell do you want? I want my daughter, she said. Give me custody, and I'll give you a generous settlement. Never. Then we'll see who the judge believes, she sneered. The loving biological mother, or the overworked father with a psychologically unstable fiancé. For a few weeks, a dark cloud hung over our house. Sarah grew quiet and distant. Maybe we should take a break, she said one night. You still there? What? Why? I don't want to be the reason you lose Mia. If it weren't for me, Vivian wouldn't have anything to use against you. This isn't your fault, I said, grabbing her shoulders. She's grasping at straws. But it's true, she whispered. Ido. I need the pills to sleep. So what? I said, looking her in the eyes. Lots of people have anxiety. It doesn't make you unstable. It makes you human. She wouldn't look at me. Sarah, look at me. I don't care what Vivian says. I want you. We're going to get through this together. Her eyes met mine, and finally, she nodded. For the second hearing, I came prepared. I had years of records documenting my care for Mia. I had testimonials from other teachers at the preschool about Sarah's character. And I had tracked down the police report from her father's accident, which officially ruled it an accident with no fault assigned to anyone. Most importantly, the judge asked Mia who she wanted to live with. I want to stay with my daddy and Sarah, Mia said in a clear, small voice. I don't like that other lady. She left me. The ruling was swift and decisive. I retained full custody. Outside the courthouse, Vivian blocked our path. This isn't over. It is, I said coldly, and if you come near my family again, that restraining order will become permanent. She shot us a hateful glare and stormed off. That night, a feeling of immense relief settled over our home. It's finally over, I said, holding Sarah close. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. She shook her head against my chest. It's in the past. Mia ran and hugged both of us. Can we be together forever now? Sarah and I looked at each other and smiled. Yes. The ordeal had only made us stronger. I knew it was time. On Sarah's birthday, I filled the house with balloons and cooked all her favorite foods. Kevin was there with a camera, ready to document the moment. Mia was practically vibrating with excitement. Is it time yet, Daddy? Is it? Sure, it's a surprise, I whispered. The doorbell rang. Mia ran to open it. Happy birthday, Sarah. Sarah walked in and saw the decorations, her eyes widening in surprise. What is all this? I got down on one knee and pulled out the ring. Sarah Jenkins, from the first day I met you, I was drawn to you. You are the kindest, strongest, most beautiful woman I have ever known. You make me a better man, and you've shown Mia what a mother's love truly is. I took a shaky breath. Will you marry me? Let me take care of you, and let's build a family together. Tears streamed down her face as she covered her mouth. Say yes. Mia yelled. Sarah nodded vigorously. Yes, I will. I slipped the ring on her finger and stood to pull her into my arms. Kevin's camera flashed, and Mia jumped up and down, shouting, Yay, Sarah's going to be my mommy. Later that night, I posted a photo of our hands, her ring sparkling, to my social media. The caption read, The rest of our lives starts now, at Sarah Jenkins. She shared it with a single heart emoji. We decided on a small wedding, just close family and friends in a little chapel. The day before, I took Mia for her flower girl dress fitting. Do I look pretty, Daddy? She asked, twirling her white dress. You look like a princess. Can I call Sarah Mom tomorrow? You sure can. Are you happy? I'm the happiest, she said, hugging my neck. You're the best daddy in the whole world. That night, Sarah called me. I'm nervous, she said. About what? I don't know. It feels like a dream. Am I really marrying you? You are, I said, smiling. Get some sleep. You're going to be the most beautiful bride in the world tomorrow. Good night, Ethan. Good night, my love. The wedding was simple and perfect. Sarah walked down the aisle, escorted by her brother, looking absolutely breathtaking. Mia followed behind, seriously tossing flower petals. When I took Sarah's hand, I felt like the luckiest man alive. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the pastor declared. Mia was the first one to reach us, hugging Sarah's legs. Mommy. It was the first time she'd said it. Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she knelt to hug her back. Bubby. Our parents were crying. Kevin was cheering. The whole world felt bright and full of hope. That night, our first as a married couple, Mia insisted on sleeping between us. She lay there, holding my hand on one side and her new mom's on the other. I'm the happiest kid in the whole world, she sighed contentedly and fell asleep. Sarah and I looked at each other over her head. How does it feel, Mrs. Cole? I whispered. It feels perfect, Mr. Cole, she whispered back. Married life was a series of simple, happy moments. Breakfasts together, weekend trips to the park. One night, Mia got a high fever, and Sarah stayed up with her all night, cool cloths on her forehead, never leaving her side. When Mia woke up, the fever gone, she snuggled into Sarah's arms. You stay with me, Mommy? Of course, baby. Always. Watching them from the doorway, I felt a sense of peace so profound it almost brought me to my knees. This was it. This was everything. A year later, Sarah was pregnant. Ethan, she yelled, running out of the bathroom with a pregnancy test in her trembling hand. I looked at the two pink lines and froze. Are we? I think so. Mia, I yelled, scooping her up. You're gonna be a big sister. Mommy's having a baby. Mia's eyes went wide with joy. A sister? Can I teach her to braid hair? 9 months later, our second daughter, Lily, was born. Mia was obsessed. She's so little. She looks like a cute little monkey. At Lily's first birthday party, Kevin took a family photo. Me, Sarah, a proud big sister Mia, and a 1-year-old Lily with cake all over her face. You're a lucky man, bro, he said. I looked at my wife and my beautiful daughters. Yeah, I said, my voice thick with emotion. I really am. That night, Sarah and I sat on the porch after the kids were asleep. It's funny, she said, leaning her head on my shoulder. I still have nightmares about the accident sometimes. But then I wake up, and I see you, and I hear the girls, and I know I'm home. I kissed the top of her head. You'll always be home. Years passed. Mia went off to college, a confident, brilliant young woman. Lily grew into a quiet, artistic soul who loved to paint pictures of our family. The day I walked Mia down the aisle at her own wedding, I held her hand and remembered that first day at preschool. The little girl who tried to set me up with her teacher was now a bride. Thank you, Dad, she whispered. Thank you, Mom, for giving me the most wonderful family in the world. Later, after the reception, our house was quiet again. Just the two of us, Sarah said. I pulled her close. That's how it started. A few months later, Mia called with news. She was pregnant. I'm going to be a grandfather, I said, stunned. Sarah laughed beside me. And I'm going to be a grandmother. We looked at each other, the same thought passing between us. We weren't that old, were we? When our grandson was born, I held him in my arms, my hands shaking. He's so small, I marveled. Just like Mia was, Sarah said softly, her head on my shoulder. We stood there, watching our daughter with her own child, a new generation beginning. You know, I said, looking at my wife, her face etched with the love and laughter of the years we'd shared. You're still as beautiful as the day I met you. And you, she said, smiling, are still the awkward dad who can't always make pancakes. I laughed, pulling her closer. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant strokes of orange and pink. Our story, once a simple sketch of a lonely father and his daughter, had been filled in with the most vibrant colors imaginable. And it was just getting started. End.